So
Yeah.
I was going through the Inca Museum
Ooh.
in Cusco, and look what I found. It is a green granite, unfinished vase that some ancient person in South America was working on. How weird is this?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like someone said it looks like an ashtray. It does. It's yeah, because it's a weird it's a if I was gonna make an object out of stone, I would not pick granite. Mate, that's hard. You'd be there for years. Like you said, it's 2 years for that guy to make a replica attempt at a vase. I'd get bored. I'd give up. I'd
Yeah,
give up. After a month, I'd give up. I'd be like, this is boring.
yeah.
Like, let's make it out of a like nice, softer. I think you don't need it to be that hard. You just need it to hold something. If its purpose is for holding something.
Yep.
But
Yeah, so
yeah,
this
it is, and
so
it's weird that it's got the two. Yeah, it looks like a melted version of a pre-dynastic vase
yeah, yeah.
vase.
It's a it's a version that hasn't been it hasn't been obviously completely carved. It hasn't been perfected. It's still kind of just, and it's like whoever was making this at some point was like, oh my God, I can't keep doing this. I need a
Yeah, it
softer
looks like
stone to make a vase out of.
someone tapped out, or somebody. It's like someone tried to attempt to make a. This was the Science Mythbusters version of the
Yeah,
pre-dynastic ones. That's what it looks like.
yeah, yeah. It's very similar. So okay, so I'm gonna start clicking right and left through these. I don't
Interesting
know
though.
what's going to come up next, but we'll just go through them as I go. So here is the 12-sided stone. This is the
Whoa.
Temple of the Moon, I believe, in the city of Cusco, just down the road from my hotel. Absolutely gigantic stone. This is gray andesite, which is similar hardness to granite. You can see that there's a couple little nubs up above it, I'm sorry, this is either 12-sided or 12-cornered. Let me count it. One, two, three,
It doesn't
four,
look
five,
real.
six,
It looks
seven,
like
8, 9, 10,
AI.
11. Yeah, 12. It's 12-cornered stone. Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is strange, and there's a nub at the bottom of it too.
of
Um,
course there is. Always a nub.
this wall right here was
Hmm.
probably about 20 feet tall, and I want to say it's at least a couple hundred feet. It's at least a couple 100-foot walk all the way around this temple, and it's a one of its kind in Cusco. There really is not any other building in Cusco that's built quite like this. They all have this kind of architecture. So let's do a little lesson of different types of stonework.
Yeah.
So this is megalithic polygonal stonework in Peru. This here is imperial style. So they're not uniform. They're all different shapes and sizes, but they have very similar features. They're all relatively squared.
This is
Um,
this is what the walls of the Assyrian look like. The original walls that
yes.
haven't been flattened. This is what
Yep.
the Assyrian limestone.
And so what we're looking at right now is actually the interior of a building that I saw inside a hotel. So the walls of Cusco were just too monumental for the Spaniards. The Spaniards tried to take down the city of Cusco
Hmm.
in the mid 1500s, and they just couldn't do it because the blocks were too tightly fit together and too large.
Yeah.
So they just built the city on top of it. And
Hmm.
then in 1650, about 120 years after the collapse of the Inca Empire, after the conquering of the empire, a huge magnitude 8 earthquake just knocked down the entire Spanish city of Cusco and left the megalithic Peruvian wall standing underneath. Then they rebuilt the Spanish city, and then in 1950 a magnitude 9 earthquake came in and knocked down the modern day city and left the Peruvian walls standing. So the Peruvian walls, they hardly fell apart. So it's amazing. It's amazing stonework, and we're gonna see lots of different variations here.
That is
I'm
karma.
gonna,
That is
I'm gonna
karma for
skip
those
that.
Spaniards.
So when we're talking about earthquake-proof architecture, this is the Temple
Whoa.
of the Sun, Temple of the Sun or Temple of the Moon at Machu
Uh-huh.
Picchu. I think they
Uh-huh.
call it Temple of the Moon, but it doesn't actually have any moon alignments. But
Right.
you can see where this style of architecture was meant to prevent it from falling apart during earthquakes. So Machu Picchu, we know, has endured at the very least 2 earthquakes, massive earthquakes throughout its history. And so another thing that's interesting about Machu Picchu is that 60% of the city's architecture is actually under the ground. It is 60% of the architecture is in the foundation of the city. They shaved off the top of the mountain, completely just flattened the top of the mountain, and then repurposed all the blocks to build a solid foundation and to build the city. And so what you're looking at right now is where during earthquakes, it has caused a corner of the temple to like sink into the ground, but the blocks are so interconnected to each other that even when they fall, the wall still, the wall still holds together. The wall just kind of flexes. And another way that these blocks or that these walls are able to not just crack down the middle is it's a little bit hard for me to explain here, and it also depends on the stonework. But if we're looking at this, these are good examples. So it's a bit hard to tell from this angle, but these walls actually lean in. They're leaning in about maybe 10 degrees, and the way that they're able to do that is the exterior of the block. Say it's sitting straight up, but you have, imagine you have the two sides, and you have the top and the bottom side. All of those are tapered in. So if you set that block down, it would cause the block to basically lean back a little bit. And so as you stack these blocks on top of each other, all the blocks are leaned back, if that makes sense. Not only on the top and the bottom, but also on the sides. So what that causes is this little triangular gap between the left and right sides of each of these blocks. So they come up to, so at the X on the surface, on the surface, they're perfectly connected to each other, like right here. But as they go back inside, the sides separate from each other from the exterior all the way to the back. It creates this little triangular space.
It's like a V. It's like a V between every. Yeah,
exactly. And so what they would do, I was on the Snake Brothers. Somebody called it gap fat. But basically they would take alpaca fat and this red mud clay, and they would make an oily glue that would sit between these blocks, and they could have made the blocks just perfectly flat alongside each other. But what I think was happening, and this isn't accepted by academia, what I think was happening was that when an earthquake hits, you have this shock wave that goes through the wall. And if all the walls are flattened up against each other, they can all, the shock wave running through the wall can cause the blocks to ripple and crack. And so you can have this crack that goes straight down the middle of the wall. But if they're only connected on the surface and everything else inside of it is separated, and you have this gap fat glue that allows the blocks to move and wiggle on the inside of the wall,